When we think about geopolitics, we usually picture these huge clashes between massive countries, right? But what if I told you a potential conflict between superpowers could actually pivot on one tiny remote island? That's what we're digging into today. How this little Japanese island, Yonaguni, has suddenly become a super critical flashpoint in the tensions between China, Japan, and Taiwan. So, to really wrap our heads around what's happening, we're going to break it down into 5 parts. First, we'll set the scene and look at why the whole region is so tense. Then we'll zoom right in on this island that's at the center of it all. We'll check out Japan's military buildup there, see how the US fits into the picture, and then finally, we'll unpack how this one tiny spot on the map is changing the entire strategic game.
Okay, so the tension in this region is something you can almost feel, and it really all revolves around Taiwan. The rhetoric's been heating up for years, but things really kicked into high gear when a Japanese official suggested their military would get involved if Taiwan were attacked. Well, China's response was, let's just say, it was fast and it was serious.
Yeah, you heard that right. Just let that sink in for a second. This wasn't some random comment on the internet. This was a threat published in media tied to the state. It's a pretty chilling reminder that every move in this chess game is being watched, and the stakes are just unbelievably high.
And that really gets us to the heart of what we're talking about today. With all this military might and political power on every side, how on earth could one little piece of land possibly tip the scales? Well, the answer is all about location, location, location.
So let's meet the main character in our story, Yonaguni Island. Most people have never even heard of it, but it's about to play a huge role in this potential conflict over Taiwan. It really is the definition of an unlikely stronghold. I mean, just look at where it is on a map. It's so close to Taiwan. And that proximity is exactly what transforms it from just a quiet little island into a piece of absolutely priceless strategic real estate. It's become the front line, whether the people living there wanted it to be or not.
Now, Japan knows exactly how valuable this island is, and they are not just sitting back and watching. They are actively turning Yonaguni into a defensive fortress. So let's take a look at the hardware they're moving in.
And the crown jewel of this new defense is something called the Type 03 Chusom system. To put it simply, it's a super advanced missile shield designed to just knock anything hostile right out of the sky. And get this, it just went live on the island a few days ago. And this is not just some simple rocket launcher, okay? This thing is a seriously sophisticated defensive shield. Just look at these specs. It can track 100 different targets at the same time and engage 12 of them at once. It's creating a highly lethal, don't even think about it zone for any enemy planes or missiles that try to get close.
And the best part? We know it works. In a major U.S. military drill, a newer version of this system had a perfect score, a 100% kill rate. That kind of reliability isn't just about defense. It's about sending a very, very powerful message to anyone who might be thinking of starting something.
What Japan's doing here is creating what the source material calls a missile porcupine. And honestly, that's the perfect way to think about it. The island is becoming something you just can't get near from the air without getting hurt. It is literally bristling with defenses, designed to be a painful deterrent. But here's the thing, this isn't just Japan going it alone. This whole buildup on Yonaguni is part of a much bigger, coordinated strategy with its main ally, the United States. They are totally in sync on this. And you can see this whole thing hasn't just happened overnight. It's been a very deliberate process. Last year, they activated a new amphibious unit and put an electronic warfare station on the island. That missile system we just talked about? That's just the latest and most powerful piece of the puzzle. Meanwhile, the US is doing pretty much the same thing, right alongside them. For months now, US Marines have been moving equipment onto the island. Now, the official line is that it's for joint exercises and humanitarian aid, but strategically, what they're really doing is laying all the groundwork for a rapid response force, just in case. And this right here is where the American role gets crystal clear. During a recent exercise, Marines set up what's called a FARP on Yonaguni, and it was the first time ever. Just think of it like a pop-up gas and ammo station for military aircraft. Having one of these on the island is a total game changer. It means US jets and helicopters can operate way closer to a potential fight, which drastically extends their reach and cuts down their response time. So when you put it all together, what does it actually mean? how does beefing up one tiny island really change the strategic math for a potential war in the region?
Well, this lays it out perfectly. Before this buildup, China might have looked at these islands as weak spots. Now, they're hardened fortresses. Before, their navy might have expected an easier path into the Pacific Ocean. Now, with a sustained US and Japanese presence, that's way more difficult. But maybe the biggest shift is this. Any idea that Japan would just stay neutral to protect its economy? That's gone. This buildup sends a signal that is impossible to miss. Japan is getting ready for a fight.
And that really leaves us with the big, lingering question, doesn't it? Does turning Yonaguni into a fortress serve as a strong enough deterrent to actually keep the peace? Or, by drawing such a clear line in the sand, does it just raise the stakes and make a future conflict that much more likely? It's a huge strategic gamble, and the entire world is watching to see how it plays out.